It is truly shocking and heartbreaking to witness the current situation faced by Indians globally. Countries significantly smaller than India are now rejecting Indian people, closing their borders, denying visas, and even forcing Indians to leave abruptly. For many years, Indians have dedicated themselves to working in various countries, building successful careers, establishing businesses, and integrating into local communities, thereby contributing significantly to the growth of these nations. However, the tide seems to be turning, and it feels as though the world is forsaking them. From the Middle East to Western nations, immigration regulations are becoming increasingly stringent. Job opportunities are dwindling, and the prospect of obtaining permanent residency is becoming a distant dream. Thousands of Indians are being compelled to return home, often without prior notice. This situation is both painful and perplexing. What is the underlying truth behind these sudden changes? This video will examine 10 countries that are now making it nearly impossible for Indians to reside. Some are subtly tightening their laws, while others are openly repatriating individuals. This issue is critically important, whether you are a student, a tech professional, or someone simply seeking a better life. If you or someone you know has been affected by these changes, please share your experience below. Let us begin. Number 10. Germany. The situation in Germany is genuinely sad and frustrating. Despite Germany's stated need for skilled professionals in fields such as IT, engineering, and healthcare, Indians continue to encounter protracted visa approval processes. Many have promising job offers and aspirations, but securing a visa remains a lengthy and stressful ordeal. A significant hurdle is the German language requirement, which complicates the path to permanent residency. Indian students and professionals on temporary visas often find themselves in a precarious position. The bureaucratic procedures are rigid, and the waiting times are extensive. Sometimes, even after meticulously fulfilling all requirements, individuals still face rejection. This has left many Indians feeling disillusioned and unwelcome. Number 9. Singapore. A distressing development is unfolding in Singapore for many Indians. For years, Indian professionals, particularly in banking, IT, and engineering, found success and stability there. However, things are rapidly changing. New regulations mandate that companies prioritize the hiring of local Singaporean citizens over foreign workers. Consequently, obtaining or renewing the employment pass, which is essential for working in Singapore, has become extremely difficult. Even highly skilled Indians who have resided there for many years are suddenly losing their jobs or are unable to extend their visas. Many feel shocked and helpless as their lives unravel. What once felt like home now feels uncertain. Their future in Singapore is no longer secure, which is profoundly painful. Number 8. Australia. For many Indians, relocating to Australia seemed like a dream, especially for those in IT and healthcare. However, that dream is now becoming increasingly elusive. The path to obtaining permanent residency is growing more challenging and complex. The Australian government has increased the salary requirements for work visas, making it difficult for new applicants to even qualify. Furthermore, even if someone secures a work visa, they now require more years of experience to apply for permanent residency. Many Indians who aspired to build a life in Australia are now stuck on temporary visas with an uncertain future. This is causing stress, sadness, and disappointment. Some are even contemplating leaving and abandoning their long-term aspirations. Number 7. United States. For many years, the H-1B visa facilitated Indian professionals in working and living in the United States. However, the situation has taken a heartbreaking turn. With widespread layoffs in the tech industry, many Indians on H-1B visas are losing their jobs. If they fail to secure new employment within a mere 60 days, they are compelled to depart the country. Moreover, the green card wait for Indians is astonishingly long. Some individuals may have to wait 20 to 30 years just to become permanent residents. Indian students are also experiencing distress and apprehension. A higher number of their student visa applications are now being rejected due to stricter scrutiny. With job losses, extensive delays, and stringent immigration regulations, many Indians feel helpless, fearful, and unwelcomed in a country they once perceived as full of promise. Number 6. United Kingdom. The United Kingdom has abruptly implemented strict new rules, significantly impacting Indian students. Now, Indian students pursuing studies in the UK are prohibited from bringing their family members, such as spouses or children. This is heartbreaking for many, as they had envisioned studying while remaining close to their loved ones. Families are now being separated, and students are experiencing loneliness and stress. To compound matters, securing employment after graduation has become considerably more challenging. The UK government has raised the salary requirements for work visas, making it nearly impossible for many Indian students to remain and work after completing their studies. What once appeared to be a land of opportunity is now closing its doors. These new regulations have caused sadness and shock, leaving many Indian students confused, upset, and uncertain about their future. Number 5. Canada. Canada was once considered a dream destination for many Indians. It was renowned for its welcoming stance towards students and skilled workers, offering straightforward access to education, employment, and even permanent residency. However, everything has suddenly and painfully changed. The Canadian government has introduced new immigration rules that are making life difficult for Indians hoping to build a future there. A significant change is the reduced number of hours international students can now work while studying. For Indian students already grappling with high tuition fees and escalating living costs, this presents a substantial problem. Many are now feeling overwhelmed by financial strain. However, the biggest shock came when Canada made it more challenging to obtain permanent residency (PR). Previously, many Indians were being approved. Now, the regulations are stricter, and fewer applications are being accepted under the express entry system. Consequently, many Indian students invest vast sums of money in their education, dreaming of settling in Canada, but are suddenly being denied PR and left without jobs or valid visas. Some have even been compelled to leave and return to India. News reports now indicate thousands of Indian students stranded after visa rejections. This sudden shift feels like a betrayal to many. They are left heartbroken, confused, and questioning whether Canada remains a land of hope for Indians or if they should start exploring other options. Number 4. Qatar. A heartbreaking situation is unfolding in Qatar. A country that once relied heavily on migrant workers is now turning them away. Thousands of Indian workers who relocated there for a better life are suddenly facing job cuts, visa complications, and even the threat of deportation. This abrupt change has astonished many. Qatar has begun reducing its foreign labor force, particularly those in low-income professions. Indian workers in construction, hospitality, and domestic work are suffering the most. New regulations now prioritize local Qatari workers, and many Indians are losing their jobs overnight. These workers arrived in Qatar with dreams, often sending money home to support their families in India. However, with work visa renewals becoming more difficult, many are being forced to leave empty-handed. Some have already been sent back to India, helpless and jobless. Many more fear their impending fate. These families are being torn apart by sudden policy shifts. For them, Qatar was once a land of hope. Today, it feels as though the door has been slammed shut. This cruel shift serves as a painful reminder. Even countries that once welcomed Indian labor are now saying, "No more," leaving countless families in fear and despair. Number 3. Oman. A painful situation is affecting Indian workers in Oman. This country, once known for welcoming Indian professionals, is now gradually closing its doors. The Omani government has revised its regulations, prioritizing local citizens for jobs instead of foreign workers. As a result, Indian workers in crucial sectors like IT, engineering, healthcare, banking, and hospitality are losing their jobs or are not having their work permits renewed. Many Indians who spent years working in Oman and building a life there are now being forced to leave. This is heartbreaking. These are individuals who worked diligently, paid taxes, and supported both the Omani economy and their families back in India. However, with the government pushing Omanization policies, everything has changed. For Indian expatriates, the future in Oman appears uncertain and bleak. Work permits are becoming rare, and job opportunities are vanishing. Even highly skilled professionals are being informed that there is no longer a place for them. This sudden shift has left many shocked and hurt. Now, Indian workers are desperately seeking other options, such as the UAE or Bahrain, where they still retain some hope. Oman, once perceived as a safe and promising country, no longer feels like home to many hardworking Indians. Number 2. Saudi Arabia. A sad and shocking reality is unfolding for Indian workers in Saudi Arabia. The country has initiated a very strict program called Saudization, which mandates that more jobs must now be allocated to local Saudi citizens. Consequently, thousands of Indian expatriates are losing their jobs and being forced to leave the country they once considered home. To worsen matters, the cost of renewing visas and work permits has become exceedingly high. Many Indian workers, particularly those with low incomes, simply cannot afford to stay. Some are compelled to leave within weeks, with no time to prepare or save money. It is heartbreaking. Workers in retail, hospitality, and even the once booming oil industry are being hit the hardest. Families who depended on remittances from Saudi Arabia are now left with nothing. The fear and panic among Indian workers are escalating daily. Saudi Arabia was once a land of hope for Indian migrants. Now, it feels as though the doors are rapidly closing. So many have spent years working there, only to be told they are no longer needed. With rising job losses, increased fees, and stringent regulations, Saudi Arabia is no longer the safe and promising place it once was. Many Indians are now desperately seeking a new place to rebuild their lives. Number 1. Kuwait. Once a land of hope for Indian workers, Kuwait has now become one of the most challenging places for them to remain. The government of Kuwait has unequivocally stated its intention to reduce the number of foreign workers in the country, and unfortunately, Indians are among the most severely affected. Over 800,000 Indians reside in Kuwait, working in essential fields such as healthcare, construction, and IT. However, many of them are now facing a heartbreaking situation where they are being forced to return to India. This drastic shift is due to strict immigration laws that limit work permits and make it almost impossible for Indians to renew their visas. The government has imposed stringent caps on foreign workers, leading to thousands of Indian professionals and laborers losing their jobs. Some workers who have been in Kuwait for decades are now being told they must leave with little notice or time to prepare. It is truly shocking and sad. Families who had legally resided in Kuwait for years have suddenly been denied visa renewals, forcing them to return to India, many without any savings or a plan. Skilled workers, especially engineers and IT professionals, are finding it extremely difficult to obtain new work permits. These restrictions have left many feeling helpless and unsure of what to do next. The situation has deteriorated to the point where there have been mass deportations of Indian workers. Kuwait, once perceived as a stable place to build a life, is now closing its doors to many of the people who contributed to building the country. The growing uncertainty has led many to question whether staying in the Gulf region is even a viable option anymore. The question arises: why are Indians being forced to leave? The increasing restrictions on Indian workers are not isolated to Kuwait. Several countries are tightening their immigration policies, making it harder for Indians to secure jobs and long-term residency abroad. Economic struggles in many countries have prompted governments to prioritize jobs for their own citizens, leaving fewer opportunities for foreigners. Rising nationalism is also a contributing factor, as governments implement policies to reduce the influence of foreign workers in their labor markets. Geopolitical tensions and evolving diplomatic relationships have further exacerbated these challenges. Immigration laws are becoming stricter, and it is now more difficult than ever to obtain work visas, permanent residency, or even student permits. For many years, Indian workers could migrate relatively easily to the Middle East, Europe, and North America to find better job opportunities. However, the situation has drastically changed, and those who once relied on foreign employment to support their families are being left with limited options. So, what should Indians do now? With increasing immigration barriers, it is crucial for those who wish to move abroad to think strategically. There are still countries that welcome skilled professionals and offer better opportunities for long-term settlement. Countries like Portugal, the UAE, Poland, and Japan are among those still accepting Indian professionals, particularly in high-demand fields such as IT, healthcare, and engineering. Canada's Atlantic provinces, as well as certain European countries, also offer easier pathways to permanent residency for skilled workers. Aspiring migrants should focus on industries that remain in high demand, such as artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and medical fields. These sectors continue to experience robust job growth globally. Instead of focusing solely on traditional destinations like the United States, Canada, or the UK, it may be time to explore emerging destinations that offer better stability and long-term prospects. Having a backup plan is now more important than ever, as immigration policies are subject to rapid changes. What does this mean for the future? The global immigration landscape is shifting, and Indian workers are facing growing challenges in securing jobs and residency abroad. Countries that once welcomed Indian professionals and laborers with open arms are now making it harder for them to stay. The era of easy migration may be drawing to a close. Those who wish to settle abroad must now be more strategic, better prepared, and open to exploring new opportunities in different countries. Have you or someone you know faced visa issues or threats of deportation? Share your story in the comments below. If you are planning to move abroad, which country do you believe is the best option now? Let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates.